terms yet against letting countries from the old Warsaw Pact join it. His spokesman said it would infuriate the Russian army and promote negative nationalist tendencies. There's a NATO summit next week, and a senior official said today it'll signal that it's prepared in principle to open up to new members, but not yet. It'll first offer a partnership for peace, open to all its old enemies, including Russia. The former Soviet Republic of Lithuania, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic and Slovakia all want full membership of NATO now. In this special report from Poland, our diplomatic editor James Mates explains why.
Polish tanks manoeuvre through a snowstorm on their northern plain. For decades they've been training to fight NATO in the west. Now they're looking anxiously eastwards, fearful of what's happening in Russia. They have now freed themselves from Soviet domination, but they're afraid that without Western guarantees, they could still fall victim to the Russians or to a host of territorial squabbles on their frontiers.
This is the border with Russia. Just a couple of hundred yards over here is the border with Lithuania. Many Poles still live on the wrong side of that border. In the 1930s, Britain and France went to war to defend Poland's borders. Neither they nor the Americans will want to make such a commitment again in the 1990s.
Poland knows all about unstable neighbours. 4 years ago it had just 3, East Germany, Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union. Now it has 7, some new states, some recreated. Dangerous, say the Poles. Indeed, says NATO, which is why it wants to stay well clear. Add to that the rise of Russia's extreme right-winger, Vladimir Zhirinovsky, who made it quite clear today what he thinks of the Poles.
We don't care about them. They threw out our troops. They've vandalised our monuments, so we now spit on Poland.
With views like that winning widespread support, many in the West are warning that to expand NATO into the former Warsaw Pact would only make life harder for Russian moderates.
I think that if you include all the Eastern European countries in NATO, the obvious conclusion is that it's against the Russians. Otherwise, what is the purpose of it? And I am doubtful whether, at the present state of affairs in Russia, that's a very wise or sensible thing to do.
That, say Poland's leaders, is to ignore the lessons of the 1930s. They're still haunted by memories of a war in which 1 in every 5 Poles died. They fervently believe that pandering to the Russians now could be as dangerous as pandering to Hitler was back then.
It's the same short-sightedness that ended very badly in 1939. The same kind of game is being played, and it's likely that this game could also end badly. There is Russia, which is making threats. There is the West, which is frightened. And we are in the middle.
Those who run his defence policy have no doubt about the danger they believe they're in through accident of geography.
We are sitting in the center of Europe, and this is not the very safe place here on our continent, and we must work for our security and sovereignty.
Poland will get Western military cooperation, joint exercises and the like. British troops will train here with them in the summer. But they don't hide their disappointment that to the West now, only the Russians seem to matter. James Mates, News at 10, Poland.
Now,